You're listening to MRP, the Metal Robot Podcast.
So, but we were talking about, obviously, that you have like 17 songs currently being written. We actually have one coming out in April as well. Can you tell me more about that song that's coming out?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I cannot pronounce the name properly because it's in French, but it's something like Outremangeur, something like that. It basically means overeating, like a person who the act of eating too much, like overeating. Right.
So we go from a song about a guy eating himself to a guy who's now overeating anything.
Exactly.
I'm sensing a pattern here.
Now, here's the nice thing about it, because Yasmin, the woman who's doing the vocals for this one, I gave her the theme of Sineaters. I don't know if you ever heard about Sineaters. Mm-hmm. Right. So they would do, there was like medieval times, they would hire like very, very poor people to eat a meal on top of the corpse. And they believed that whatever sins were remaining in that body of that person would be transferred into the food. And then the person eating that would get the sins onto themselves and then free the person from the deceased from limbo. It's just a very fucking weird idea, right? Sin eater. So I gave her the theme and she came up with the lyrics for Outremangeur, and it's sick. It's a pretty sick song. Lyric wise.
Yeah. Are the lyrics going to be in French as well?
Yep. All in French.
I can't wait, because I actually do follow Yasmin on Facebook now since she became part of this project, and I saw her doing a vocal demo and I was like, I can't fucking wait for this song, because she's a really good vocalist. Even I'm kind of like sitting here like, teach me your ways, please.
Yeah, this was one of the things that I really wanted to have. I wanted to have women on board of the project, because you don't hear a lot of women growling in metal.
Not often. I mean, there's plenty of examples. Obviously, right. Arch Enemy is a most popular example. One band I do follow is Wintersea, which is a fantastic American blackened metal band. And is fucking amazing. I'll have to send you a single if you haven't heard them. But
please do. I never heard him. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's something that we don't really hear too often of. Is like women growlers. And so to have Yasmin here, I think I'm pretty excited to hear what she comes up with. Yeah,
especially in comparison in terms of numbers, right? So you have like all these bands popping up, new bands and the classical bands, and from those bands you only have a few that are female led, and only a percentage of those are growling. So you don't really have a lot of growlers. And once I saw Yasmin doing growlings on the Facebook group, I was like, whoa, do you want to be part of yada yada yada? I just sent her a message. She was like, yeah, she's super cool. She's doing like, I think she has 3 bands that she's working with, and plus this part, she's super enthusiastic about music. So I was very excited to have her on board, and she's also doing everything in French, which adds to the whole idea of the project, which is really cool. And in her song, I wanted to do something that would really shine her growling. So there's a lot of Cannibal Corpse influence in a couple of the blast beats. There's also djent. I put a lot of djent elements within the song, because none of the previous songs had tackled, groove-based djenty stuff. So I'm obviously using this one, if you can properly see.
The 8-string guitar. Hell yeah.
Oh boy, dropped to E. So it's like super. Oh. Yeah, it's an octave down standard tuning. It's super low. So it matches perfectly with what she's doing with vocals. So it's about overeating, sins, demons and spirits with an 8-string, Cannibal Corpse, djenty stuff, and blast beats in French. It's going to sound amazing.
And is this the first time the 8-string is getting used for Homoiousios? Because I know with the writer of Lycaon, you were using a 6-string in drop C, but with Lilium, were you using the 8-string for that, or was it still 6-string?
No, it was 6-string. Yeah, all the 6-string songs. I'm not going to say all. So 90% of the 6-string songs are in drop C or just C standard, because it's the tuning I grew up with. And I love,
of course.
I mean, all the metalcore and System of a Down, especially, all drop C. So I learned guitar in drop C. But then, with the djent stuff, drop C doesn't really do the trick.
It can only do so much in drop C, because if you want to go djent, usually the highest would be B, I believe, correct?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that is even too high. I'd say A. A.
Right. Yeah. True.
Gent is A and lower, right?
Mhm.
So I wanted to experiment with a different instrument. I mean, the original song was all written in standard C, right? I sent it to her. She did vocals, sounded great, but I was like, you know what? I might start getting redundant if I do all 21 tracks in one tuning. It might start, the riffs might start sounding the same. So I started changing the keys, the tunings, and the instruments that I recorded different songs. See, that's one of the good reasons why I kept all the projects open at the same time, because I just could go in and rewrite the parts in different tunings. So I decided for her tuning to go as low as I could with my 8-string without it being too muddy and without having to use what do you call the pedal that shifts the tunes down automatically?
The pitch shifter.
Pitch shifter. Yeah, I don't like
Sure.
the sound of a pitch shifter, so I just really like to tune it down, to tune the strings down themselves. And the lowest I can go on my 8 strings without sounding like shit is E. So yeah.
What is it like writing with an 8-string? Because I know like once you start adding an actual bass to the mix, it becomes a bit more complicated.
Oh, dude, it's such a pain in the butt. Yeah. Thankfully, I started. The reason why I got into 8 strings was because of Mick Gordon, right? You know who Mick Gordon is, right?
Yeah.
So for everyone who does not know, probably everybody knows, is the guy who did the Doom Eternal soundtrack, and everything he does on that soundtrack is either with an 8-string or a 9-string. A fucking 9-string. That is
and for video game soundtrack too. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's an octave below C. That's double drop C. That's insanely low. And so the reason why I bought an 8-string was because I started watching his videos and how he mixes his music and how he uses guitar and bass together. So I learned a shit ton of good stuff on how to mix an 8-string properly. So like basically you have to cut a lot of the mid-range, the low range out. You have to boost the mids and add this and add that and just add layers and layers of guitar. So right now I'm in a very comfortable position mixing and tracking wise, as in what to do with an 8-string. But in the beginning, it was really hard to get it to sound good. And the proof is that if you go to my channel and you look at my first songs with an 8-string, they sound muddy as heck. I mean, they really did. They don't punch you in the face. And I wasn't really sure how to use my bass with the synth and then the 8-string, because it's like everything is below sub. It's sub frequencies. It's super low. But now I'm in a good position. I know what to do with it, so it's a lot easier now.
And for Homoiousios, are you still looking for people to be a part of the project? Because obviously you've got so many people. Is there still open slots, or are you like, maybe we need to relax for a little bit? There's so many fucking voices here.
Yeah, bro. To be honest, there are two sides of me. One says, yes, come on board. Show me what you can do and I'll make you songs. The other side is like, no, give me a break because I need to get 21 songs out before December. That's a lot of work.
I'm just one man. Please help.
And trust me, although there are other musicians like you and Bruno that are doing more than just vocals, like Bruno is doing ambience and he's going to be doing orchestration on his song. There's another guy from Morocco who's also doing orchestration. Marcio Grava, the guy who did the solo guitars on your song, he's also doing leads, and he has a whole song that he himself made, and then he's just sending me the stems and I'm like remapping the drums and putting Homoiousios sound to it. So there are more than musicians are doing more than just vocals on the tracks, right? But still, I'm doing 90% of the writing, and it takes a long time. And I meet so many good people everywhere, and I'm at a point right now where like some people in the group are suggesting musicians to come on board, and people are reaching out to me, sending me videos of like, oh, well, this is what I can do. This is my voice. I'm part of this band and that. And as much as I want to add everyone in and just make everyone a song, I'm pretty sure that if I go over the current set list as of now, I'm going to start sounding redundant. I'm going to start sounding like, hey, that song sounds very much like that other song. So
right, yeah.
Creativity wise, I do not want to go further than these sets of vocalists, these sets of songs. But obviously once these are out, I'm going to have evolved. I'm going to have learned new stuff, and I want to start making new songs. And by that time, some people have already stated that they just want to do this one song and then they're going to move on. Some people want more songs. So I'm definitely going to need more people on board. So I'm always taking emails, always taking messages, always auditioning, quote unquote, for new songs that will eventually come by.
You just listened to MRP, the Metal Robot Podcast.